Hey everyone, this is Dan back at the AddMeGamers channel, and today I actually decided to pick the highest rated replay, or one of the highest rated replays at a 9.9. It had received from a lot, I do believe over 6,000 votes this one got, so far it's pretty popular in terms of the ZVT Zerg versus Terran. So on the top right we do have aTnDarkForce as the blue Zerg player, and on the top left we have the yellow Terran player as roxkisBratOK. So this is of course a Terran versus Terran versus Zerg, Zerg versus Protoss. This map is Shakira's Plateau. We of course did have the first scout coming up by DarkForce. I'm gonna have to nickname these people. So the Zerg is gonna be DarkForce towards me, and the Terran player is gonna be called Roxis or Brat. It really depends. I don't know, I'll call him Brat, it sounds really funny. So Brat and Roxis obviously going directly for the second hatchery itself, and nothing much. I did speed up the game a little bit because the beginning of this game I was told it's a little bit slow, so still let's see what happens. So far this should be a pretty epic game as far as I've been told. Nothing really much happening. Both players obviously droning up, getting those hatcheries and extractors up, and we do have Brad coming up already with his first barracks and the wall off here, so he is pretty well walled off, so this should stop any scouting coming in from DarkForce. So DarkForce in terms really doing nothing. He placed down his first spine to obviously protect in case any harass is going to be coming from Brat itself. The SCV gets pushed off by the two Zerglings. Let's take a look if he actually managed to scout anything though. Yeah, he did manage to scout of course the whole base. He even saw the second one itself. And we do have the first factory up as well. So early time, we do have a little bit of Hellion harass. We should see those refineries coming online to actually cope with that Hellion harass. He is still on one base though, Brat. Well, Roxas is on a second though. But he is scouting out with his Marines, and I'm not sure why he didn't push out with those 3 Marines. He could have did... it's because of the spine crawler. He decided to move down to the Zolnaga Tower to scout out what the Zolnaga Tower has to offer. Other than that, we do have, of course, the starport, so I do believe, I'm not sure if after the Hellion he's planning to do a hot swap, or if he's going to produce something else. Since we don't have the reactor online, I'm not sure exactly what is going to be coming in from Brat himself, but we do see that Nexus or DarkForce, I don't know why I'm calling him Nexus, started to produce that metabolic boost, which should give that a little speed increase for those Zerglings. And we do have, he's just really droning up, DarkForce now really droning up, and of course Brad spotted that spine crawler, I do believe, and he just decided to withdraw. He really wants nothing to do with the spine crawler, so he's like, screw this, I ain't gonna be able to push out even with this many Hellions and that many Marines. He just pushed out, and we do have the second command center being built, so this should be of course dropped off, I do believe, into this position as soon as possible. And we have a layer coming up as well for DarkForce, the second refinery as well, so we might actually see a switch into some heavy tech. And yes, we do have a switch into heavy tech. The tech lab is coming up, so we should see some tanks coming online as well. The Queen coming out, and metabolic boost nearly finished. And second base is it's turning into a hatchery, and the base itself is morphing in as well. So so far so good, nothing really happening. A little push and drop. Here comes a drop of medevac, or a little bit of medevac harass from Brat himself. He is pushing out with these Marines. Still no, of course, stim research, so he's just pushing out all right. He's gonna drop off the Hellions as well. Really, DarkForce should have spotted this. Obviously he's not really reacting as he doesn't have the forces to take care of this, but now he's really gonna have no choice. 2 Queens coming in. DarkForce trying to kite out the Zerglings. Obviously put a very nice round in terms of this. Hellion should be able to really fry those Zerglings pretty easily, but DarkForce decides to mop it up, and Brad decides to pick up and move back in his medevac, as he doesn't want to lose any forces, as he knows he was outnumbered, and he is really trying to cut down his losses. We do have a third command center coming up. He really is going out all out. Brad is really pushing that really strongly. He's holding out in terms of his tanks. We know siege tanks are coming out. His siege tank research is online as well. Spire coming out, so we should see maybe some Mutalisks coming into play really soon in terms of that. Or will he be directly going for the Great Spire and going for the Brood Wars? So Brood Lords, what the fuck was that supposed to mean? And here comes a medevac. He dropped off, of course, one Marine to see the actual middle base. The middle map, just to take a look in case anything comes his way. Nothing really happening so far. We do have the Bailing's List coming up, so we should probably see that research as well directly after the Bailing's List. Increase the speed of those Bailings, those grappling hooks, or whatever the hell that was called. And so far The second orbital command for Brat has been placed down, of course, with already morphed up to provide those mules. He is moving down, of course, with the barracks to sort of hamper the entrance, and he's going to place down a bunker as well to increase that defense itself. We do, of course, have the creep tumor being spread out continuously with those queens, and finally the baiting nest is complete. Is he going to do those, what is it called, evolution centrifugal hooks, which will increase the speed of those bailings, so that'll make those bailings a little bit more nastier to catch and a little bit quicker. We do have 2 more factories coming online, so yes, we can presume that Brat is going pretty mech heavy in this match itself. The siege research is complete for those tanks, and we shall have the first mutalisks coming out in terms of Dark Force's units themselves. He's breaking down the barrier, so we should expect to see maybe a base up here. I'm not really sure in case he's going to be doing that or not, but he is breaking down this barrier, so making it really easily accessible, and since the tumor's going down there, he might do that as well. We have, of course, another hatchery coming down in terms of the third base itself down here. And so far, nothing really much. Everybody seems to be teching up, droning up, really everything possible as quickly as possible. More research. We have Zerg plating +1. Centrifugal hooks nearly finished. We have 4 mutalisks in play. We do have the reactors coming online as well. Are they coming online in terms of... Yes, they are coming online in terms of the factory. So interesting. He's going to hot swap it with the actual starport, this one, or he's going to be producing those double Hellions. Still time will tell, we shall see. So far nothing much. We do have 4 turrets online in terms of Brat, so he is obviously doing this in terms to counter these mutalisks that are coming back. So he's going to have to actually move somebody there to take care of it. Here come the Marines to mop up the small little push in terms of the mutalisks. Not even a push, more like a nuisance. So the mutalisks obviously retreat. He's going to complete the tower itself. We do have the Inferior Pre-Igniter. It means the blue flames for the Hellions is going to be coming up soon. And so far, the third base, of course, is already up and ready, and this is it. We do have, of course, a bunch of Zerglings coming out, and tumors, of course, being continuously placed all around the map. So far, nothing really happening in terms of the players attacking each other. They are really upping their defenses, upping their tech, upping their units, really going for the high-tech. I do believe they are pushing forward to get those high-level units, not high-tech, high-level units as quickly as possible. The missile turret, of course, deters those mutalisks to have another go at them. Even though it is 1 missile turret, he could be able to drop 1 missile turret and still continue with his harass, but is he going to use these mutalisks to actually scout out the area itself? As you can see, he is just scouting out the area itself. More mutalisks, of course, joining in. We do have 2 Hellions in play, 2 more tanks. And they are going to target fire this tank. This tank should be able to drop. Even the Thors won't do much damage. The tank will drop. What a waste of a tank. He should have placed at least, especially with this many resources, he should have doubled the actual missile turrets on each single post, since he knows that there is more mutalisks in play. Do we have a drop here? Yes, we do have a small drop with 2 Hellions. So we should see a target fire in terms of the production line. And we do have another push here, so we have 2 push. A 2 push in terms of Brat. Here comes the Hellion drop. Here comes those Hellions. Hellions are probably going to move down to this actual production line. So they are going to start frying those drones pretty easily. Look at those drones drop. And we do have another drop here. So they're being pulled off the line. Of course, here, no, not yet. He's still Dark Force was busy looking at the top side of the map. Now he actually decided to move back down. So he's moving those drones. But those drones got fried. A lot of them got fried. 2 of these Hellions dropped. And we do have that 1 medevac escaping away with no Hellions itself. So both those Hellions died, and these Hellions dropped, but they did manage to actually take a lot of those drones out. Look at the units lost in terms of Dark Force. Dark Force at 47. So far, the third base is up and running for Brat, and still no hot swap for the starport, so we are going to see those double Hellions coming out, and no medevacs really, so he is really going all out tech heavy. It's really surprising, as he doesn't really have any anti-air though. He's relying on those missile turrets. He's building up those missile turrets in terms of countering the mutalisks in play. I don't really see this as very efficient, but you know, let's see what happens. You see those double missile turrets already proved to be pretty nasty. We have, of course, the armor plating one, and the ground, of course, armor for the Zerg for the Zerg unit as well. Coming up, 8 more mutalisks coming in play, and those 2 Hellions nearly going to be completed. So they are actually starting to finally research armor and damage for both the players, that being the Terran and the Zerg itself. Sorry about that, that's just my phone. And let's take a look at what we have. The small little scout should be able to plop those few Zerglings down. Is he going to move in with this set? Very nice bailing push, and a few mutalisks, of course. These should drop pretty quickly, very quickly, with surrounding Zerglings, and they all drop. Look at the amount of tanks here and the siege weapons, and they are, of course, reinforced with those missile turrets. I do believe he should have. He actually doesn't want to lose I do believe supply on the actual Marines themselves to actually counter the air, so he is just going with the missile turrets to counter the air attack. I don't know if this will be very fruitful for Brat, but you know, time will tell. Here come those Mutalisks again. They are just scouting out. They're still trying to see exactly what's happening, and we have, of course, more research coming online in terms of... I can actually start to slow down a bit now. We have more research in terms of the Zerg player. We have the Ventricles coming on. We have the melee attack too, and we do have the... what was that? Pneumatized Carpus as well coming online. And we do have the Hive coming online, so... they should be able to drop this factory itself. The missile turret just out of range, and he is sort of kiting those Mutalisks so they don't get into the range. It's going to burn out and drop, so he's going to lose that. Two Thorns move in to actually prevent those Mutalisks from doing anything. I still don't see a Brat really coping with this air harass coming in from Dark Force though. So the Hive is out, and we do have finally the Glands completing and the Hatchery coming online, and Lair as well should be popping out soon. We do have 2 more barracks, and we have the Ghost Academy, so we should see a few more ghosts coming online now, and the Tech Lab as well. So he is really switching from... it's going to be more of a tank, mech, ghost build from Brat himself, and we have already 1, 2, 3, 4 bases for Dark Force. I am starting to lose my voice. 4 bases from Dark Force and 3 base build, and 4th one coming down from Brat himself. Those Mutalisks still scouting around. We do have that Mobius reactor for those ghosts. So pretty interesting. Let's take a look at where that ghost research is. Here's the Mobius reactor. So the energy levels are going to be increased by 25, so we should expect those ghosts to stay cloaked a little bit longer. I don't know nukes if they're going to be coming online. Finally, he is putting those vehicle weapons level 2 and more missile turrets and more barracks in play, and we do have another 2 more command centers actually being built. Where exactly are they being built? Here's one command center, and there should be another one being built somewhere pretty close by. So 2 more barracks in total. We have, of course, 3, 4, 5 racks from down here, and we should have a few more up here. We have 5 racks down. All the racks 5 to 5. It means 5 barracks and 5 factories. And so far he is being harassed by these Mutalisks, and they are actually taking down these destructible debris. So we should expect to push actually from Dark Force from here. And I don't know if Brat sees this coming. He should be able to see this coming. Let's take a look. Yes, he does see this. He sees that the Mutalisks are taking it down. I don't know why he doesn't move his units into position to be able to counter this. This is going to be a pretty good charge in from those Zerglings and Balings if he decides to do it. It'll be a pretty good, painful charge from Dark Force. He should be able to take these out, especially with a lot of Balings. He could do a massive Baling bust and take a lot of the supply down. A lot of these supply depots down, and it should limit the actual... Here come a few Hellions, of course. He is expecting that something's going to be happening here. Is the push coming? Here's the push, here's the push, here come those Zerglings, but these Hellions should be able to fry the Zerglings, barbecue him really nicely, and that Siege Tank and the Thor. Oh yeah, he's moving everything, and he knows it's coming. He's prepared for this. Here comes the Siege Tank. He's going to be sieging them up. Those Hellions should fry these Zerglings pretty quickly, though. The Zerglings won't really have much of a chance, especially when the tanks siege up. They're going to come in to the actual resource line. There's really nothing much left here, so the Zerglings are just using this to scout out and attack the second orbital, which can just lift off. It really doesn't make a difference. This orbital is just used, of course, for those mules, and that's about it. We have the Adrenal Glands finished. We have the ground level armor level 2 for the Zerglings. We have 2 tech labs coming online, and I do believe we should see some ghosts in the sense as well. Of course, now he's pushing out. He is starting those scans, and he is pushing out with all these tanks themselves, and he is going to be able to probably just push this overload back. He really doesn't have any air to deal with all these air units that the Zerg player Dark Force is playing with. So here come those Mutalisks. They should substantially heavily damage these tanks themselves, as he has nothing to counteract this. All he was counting on is to go with the actual missile turrets, but since he doesn't have these missile turrets, these tanks are going to drop like flies. Only the Thors will be able to do any damage, if any, though. These Thors are really not very effective. Only 2 Thors. Even we have Brute Lords in play now. So this base should be really easily mopped up. No real counter air except those Thors. Here comes the scan. Brute Lords should be able to mop it up pretty quickly, though. We do have 3 more missile turrets online. Ground Zerg level 2. More. We had, of course, the Infestors coming online as well, placing down the Fungal that took care of the rest of the units, and he's moving out with the Brute Lords and the Mutalisks themselves. And really doesn't look too up for Brat himself, as his units seem to be pretty wiped out though. So if aTnDarkForce decides to push out now, he can do a really hefty push. Here come the Zerglings, a lot of Zerglings moving forward, just passing those missile turrets. He's not even going to bother attacking those missile turrets. He's going for that Thor. The Thor's going to drop pretty quickly, and he is making a complete surround, and he should be able to take out those SCVs a lot as possible. Do we have any siege tank fire though? Here come a few reinforcements, of course. That Overlord was filled up with a couple of units, and that completely dropped. Zerglings trying to make a surround on the Thors. Thors, of course, completely decimating. There's really minimal damage in terms of Zerglings and Thors. Zerglings attack Thors. It's pretty funny though, but there is really very little damage happening in terms of Thors going up versus the Zerglings. Here come those Meteorlists again, and no really anti-air. This is really the Achilles heel for Brat. I don't know why he doesn't really place any anti-air. 4 ghosts coming online, so finally we're going to see some ghost play. The melee attack level 3, so really those upgrades are coming to an end in terms of the Zerg player. He decides to lift the orbital command. Is he going to actually lose his Brute Lords, of course, moving in? So really here come those snipes from the ghosts themselves. So the ghosts are in play though. I can't see them though. Where the hell are these ghosts? Here they are. Here's one ghost nearly dead. So ghosts in play now. So pretty interesting to see. We have 14 Zerglings coming on. We have the Infestors, 3 more Infestors. So we should see the turret's going to drop, the second turret's going to drop. This orbital command, it should burn up. I don't know if he's going to actually bother saving it. He could move it down here and save it and start repairs. So otherwise we have the 1, 2, 3, 4th. I don't even know if it's the 6th or 7th base now coming online for Brat himself. And we have, of course, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bases for aTnDarkForce. A really interesting play for both the players though. Infestors coming online, of course, morphing them into Broodlords, so more Broodlords coming on. Actually 5 Broodlords coming on. We have another command center, planetary fortress. For that one I do believe it's the bond at the bottom. It's pretty far, so it does need a little bit of extra defense. Oh, look at all these Hellions charging in. I don't know why he has so many Hellions though. Really interesting to see if he's going to actually charge in with those Hellions and try to do as much damage in terms of getting those Nidus Swarm drops. So really interesting play in terms of aTnDarkForce trying to warp in or tunnel in units using the Nidus Worm. Didn't work out, of course. Nidus Worm drops. We have 2 Corruptors online. Look at all this airplay in terms of the actual Zerg player. Nothing. Brat is not responding with the airplay. All he's doing is just building up more missiles. This is, I do believe, more Nidus Worms coming online. So we do have another Nidus Worm coming up. So where is that Nidus Worm though? Really interesting to see where he actually placed that Nidus Worm. Is he going to place it? Infestation Pit. Where is that Nidus Worm? Where has he placed that Nidus Worm? Really interesting to see. Here comes a push. Actually, we should see some Zerglings coming online. Of course, the siege tank doing just minor damage. They should be able to mop that siege tank very quickly. The planetary fortress here should be able to defend. Of course, it is taking out quite a lot of those Zerglings. It should really mop it up pretty quickly. There's really nothing to do here. Hellions are coming in with the blue flames. They should mop it up. Look at the amount of Hellions. This is really a death squad for Hellions with the blue flame Hellions. They should be able to fry those Zerglings, really barbecue them nicely. So Ghost Academy is complete. He didn't research the nukes or the cloak research as well. 3 more ghosts. We have the weapons level 3 coming online, and 2 more spine crawlers and corruptors, 4 more corruptors, and we have that Zerg armor level 3 for the Zerglings. So those Zerglings are really going to be armored up and equipped to the max. We do have a small little harass from the Hellions here, even though this base is practically mined out, this being the main base from aTnDarkForce. Those, of course, Hellions just moving down. They are trying to obviously catch something. Infestors coming in. Are they going to place the fungal down or not? Yes, no, they are just placing down Infested Terrans to take out the rest of the Hellions. The Hellion force is going to drop pretty quickly. And nothing so far happening. 5 more tanks being online and 2 more Hellions. The production tab for both the units are pretty sorry about that. Let's take a look at the army size. This is the older version, we can't really see it. So of course aTnDarkForce is maxed out at 199, but the Terran player is, that being Brat, is still not really up or in par with the actual weapons. We do have a couple of snipes here. I didn't hear them. I didn't know where exactly it was coming from though. So Brat is still having a lot of catching up to do in terms of supply. And compared to the Zerg player, we have another hatchery coming online. So look at the amount of bases really being placed down by the Zerg player. Economically wise, I do believe that the Zerg player has an advantage. As you can see clearly, it's 2001 to 1-1. So yes, here comes a push. Finally, I do believe, hopefully a big push. A few of those Marines, I mean a few of those Ghosts, not even Marines. Again, no anti-air. I'm very confused with this game itself. Why is there no anti-air coming in play though? These Hellions are moving forward. Again, more turrets, missile turrets, of course, to take care of the air. Anti-air for Brat is just missile turrets. This is it. Unfortunately, you can't place those missile turrets on the actual Zerg area, as it is having the... Fuck, I forgot what the hell it's called. As it's having the goo or whatever the hell you want to call it. Anyways, Asylum Extractor drops down. I'm mixing it up with the Protoss and I called it Asylum, so it's pretty funny. So a bunch of Looney Tunes in the Asylum drop down, and the Infestors moving in with, of course, the Corruptors. Look at the amount of Corruptors. The Siege, of course, Fire being able to take that down. Those Mutalisks should drop pretty quickly. Broodlords are moving in. They are going to cause a little bit of havoc. Look at all that sniping coming down from really very little damage those Ghosts are doing in terms for the Broodlords. Those Corruptors should be moved back in terms of not losing them just for nothing. So we have, of course, more Siege Fire coming down, Ghosts shooting away, Broodlords moving forward. They should be able to pick off these Ghosts pretty easily though. And we do have a couple of snipes from the actual Ghost takes down the Broodlord. And we do have the Infestor trying to take control of one of the Ghosts. It didn't work out very well. Infestor died. The rest of the Broodlords are being mopped up pretty quickly. And is he going to move out with them? No, he's not going to move out. He should start maybe repair for the Thor if he wants to keep it, but he didn't move down any SCVs to do the repair for the Thor, so he's going to lose that. We do have, of course, the Zerg missile. Finally, he's upgrading the actual missiles for the actual Zerg flying units, that being the Mutalisks themselves. 4 more Ghosts coming online. And finally, the bases are starting to expand for the Terran player itself. And if we do look at the actual resources, units lost, we do have 301 to the Zerg player, to the Terran player, but of course you have to understand the Zerg player does play in terms of strategy-wise by using a lot of units, as you can drone up those units pretty quickly. And now the Broodlord's going to drop more snipes from the actual Ghosts themselves, more Broodlords coming in, and that's it. Brad calls it a day, is retreating with those SCVs, of course, that are used to repair the actual Thors themselves. Look at the amount of Broodlords throwing down those swarm seeds. They are actually being able to pick off these units pretty quickly. These turrets themselves are going to drop pretty quickly. Again, he is not relying on anything else except those missile turrets to take care of his anti-air. Look at the amount of Broodlords. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Dark Force is going Broodlords heavy. I'm not even sure if he maxed out all his supply just to go for a Broodlord all-out kill. So he is retreating, of course. These towers are going to drop. He's going to be able to push out pretty far, though, as Brad has no response to this. He has no response to this at all. There is really no response to this, and he is pushing out pretty aggressively in terms of this Broodlord push, and I will call it quits for now. We shall give it a pause, and this is it for the part 1 of the game. And if you guys enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, like it, and subscribe, and look down for the video response, and we shall continue with our part 2. As always, happy gaming, and see you in part 2. Bye.